Book of Demons is an unlikely marriage of hack-and-slash and deck-building mechanics. But despite this unusual combination, Polish studio Think Chunk was able to not just make it work, but make it an indie Steam success. This is the first game for the six-person studio, but its individual members have been around the game dev block, working on Match 3 and hidden object games. Book of Demons pushed their skills in other actions. In an anime interview, studio co-founder and producer Masach Bisikfield says, in Book of Demons, inspiration on the design. Make sure to check out the video above, if you are unfamiliar with Book of Demons, a unique medley. Book of Demons is our tribute to Diablo, and most of all we wanted to capture some of its amazing atmosphere. It's all dark and gloomy. The action takes place in a distant, almost abandoned village away from the busy capital and crowded routes. There's literally no one else other than you to save the world from the evil that wakes up deep underground. It's an awesome simple story about the battle of good and evil, and we wanted it to stay this way. When it comes to game mechanics, however, we wanted to take a different tack, to experiment with new styles of gameplay. Our goal was to simplify the game, and make it much easier and faster to play. The original 1996 Diablo also introduced many simplifications, as the CRPG games of that time were often complex and slow to play. Our different take on the now overused standard hack-and-slash mechanics is also a kind of tribute to the times when developers were not afraid to experiment and make their games unique. Technically, the roguelike mode in Book of Demons should probably be called roguelite, as there are obviously some deviations from the classic formula. When we first launched the game, it had only one ammo mode, but during the early access we quickly realized that we cannot satisfy all kinds of gamers without giving them some kind of choice at the beginning. That's when we decided to break the game into 3 modes: casual, normal, and roguelike. Roguelike is the only mode which features permadeath, but unlike in classic games, gold is the most important resource. You get resurrected only if you can afford it. That's why gold is even more important than your HP. Of course, there is much more to Book of Demons. Roguelike mode healing is very restricted. Monsters are even more vicious and skill cards are encountered in totally random order. So you might start with cards that you even cannot use. Beating it requires both skill and luck. In this sense, Book of Demons is very much a hack-and-slash. There is a story in the game, but it's optional and you can play without listening to any of the gossip. It's more about creating the right mood. And even though we do not follow the usual hack-and-slash formula, when it comes to gameplay mechanics, the core is still there. While the movement is bound to paths, you still get to explore the maze, and at every turn you decide whether to push forward or to retreat. There's no loot in the usual sense, but we'll have skill cards that replace spells, items and gear. We were looking for a strong visual theme right from the beginning, because we knew the game would be part of a series. The art style is something that will be binding all of the games. Having each game represented by a book made sense, especially since we wanted to tell universal stories and make everything generalized and even archetypal. Not sure if you noticed, there are no proper names in THEG, and we will have the Tong, the Cathedral, Barmaid, Sage, the Cook, the Antipope, etc. It's really a universal story, just like in a fairy tale. The details of the background are not so important. It's all about you and the adventures that you have. Book of Demons contains a feature where the player decides what length of an adventure they wish to have before beginning. The game lets players decide in terms of minutes, about how long a session will last, but also informs them about how much rewarded will be worth and, as a completion percentage, how much total progress in the main quest will be made. Think Chunk refers to this feature as flexiscope. Back when we were younger and went to school, we used to play video games a lot. Those were magical times, and it's something very hard to do nowadays for people like us. You are not so young anymore. You have your work. You have family you have to care for, and you just do not have as much time as you used to. Many games nowadays require you to spend a lot of time with them in order to properly enjoy them. With Book of Demons, and with the whole series, we wanted the game to adapt to your schedule and let you have fun no matter how much time you have. We figured there is more people like us, and this is why we created Flexiscope. I guess we were not wrong, as we get a lot thanks for this feature. Completion percentage is progress towards completing the main story and slaying the HDMON. The game is pretty linear in terms of story and events that take place. Once you finish the base campaign, you can continue playing in what we call the free play mode. There are many goals which can be completed in free play, like unlocking new difficulty modes, mastering quests, reaching the level cap for your character, or finding all of the cards for your class. Book of Demons is just the beginning of our journey. Our vision is to make a series of 7 games, each designed in a similar fashion, but telling a different story. Each game will be a tribute to a classic PC game, one of our favorite games from our childhood. This will take a lot of time and effort, but seeing how enthusiastic some of our gamers are, we cannot back off now. We just hope we will not disappoint anyone and that the next games will be as good, or even better than Book of Demons. Bethesda has confirmed that it is issuing temporary bans to players who have accessed a secret developer room full of unreleased items for Fallout 76. This seems to be the first time Bethesda has publicly addressed the issue of players hacking into the developer room, as the studio provided an official statement first posted to the Polish for a Facebook account. Eurogamer was able to obtain an official English translation of the post, which encourages players who have accessed these areas who have had their accounts banned to contact their support team. We are looking into accounts where players have obtained items by accessing areas of the game that are not intended for the public. The post reads, these areas are only accessible to PC players that are using third-party applications to get into these areas. In an effort to ensure the integrity of these characters and accounts, these accounts are being temporarily disabled pending further investigation. The discovery of the developer room led to unreleased items being shared among players, including cosmetic items and weapons not yet available to the public. Developer rooms are not uncommon, and they are usually used by developers as a space to test out new items. For single-player Bethesda games, developer rooms were typically accessed using console commands. Bethesda has reportedly moved the location of the developer room, but some parts of it are apparently still able to be accessed by players. Although players can still enter, they said they were no longer able to interact with the items inside some of the rooms. Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Here are just some of the many positions being advertised right now. If you are a recruiter looking for talent, you can also post jobs here. Location: Culver City, California. Heart Machine is a small, deeply motivated and close-knit team located in Los Angeles. Our focus is gameplay that's engaging, fluid and fun, while also building atmosphere through law shot and sound design. We are immensely excited to be creating things we love every day. Our next project is ramping up production, using Unreal 4-inch, a fully 3D gameplay experience. We are looking for talented, passionate, smart and good people to become part of our crew, to help build and shape something ambitious and completely unique from the ground up. As a critical anchor for the project, you will be crafting code for character interactions,